So get your phone. You got to look. We want to go with these different prayers now. So if you get your phones, they should be on there. If people got them, Sheila, did they? They got the prayers, did they? Everyone got prayers? Because if you want to join in, we're going to say a few things like the Heart Sutra and a few things. So have it on your, you can have it on your phone because it's going to be too small on the screen. That's for the people on Zoom, yeah. So
recording in progress.
Okay. Which one do you turn off? So this is Sakadawa, right? This is in the lunar calendar, in the Tibetan lunar calendar, which is based on the Indian one, I think, or the Chinese. I'm not sure. Don't know actually. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I know that in the calendar, the lunar calendar, there are certain days that are said to be more kind of potent, you know. In fact, since the late 90s, when I was running the prison project, we started producing a Tibetan calendar every month, every year. It still happens. They're still doing it, and so there's there's just it lists, you know, it's yeah, I'll show you. It's going now since then, so you can just look at the Liberation Prison Project and download it or buy it or make a donation or something if you want it. Because certain days with certain days we do certain things. Like on the 10th and the 25th of the lunar calendar, certain people have a particular practices to do it on those days. And the full moon days, you do certain things. The new moon days, like that, you know. I'll show you the calendar. So, you know, you have, anyway, whatever. So today, Sakadawa is, the Tibetans go by month, first month, second month, that's how they call them, by the numbers. So this Sakadawa is the fourth month. So today is the 15th of the fourth month. And that's the full moon day. Is it? Full moon, 15, must be, isn't it? Let's have a look. Huh? Yes, full moon day. So that's today. And it's a day that celebrates the birth and the enlightenment of the Buddha. Do that, never mind. So there are different things that Lamas of Rinpoche has recommended we do on these days. So what were some of the things, Sheila? What's in that list of things that he recommends?
Heart Sutra.
Can't hear you.
Heart Sutra.
What we do, I know, but what are some things Rinpoche recommends?
These are the things that Lamas of recommended.
I can't hear you, Sheila.
The things that Lamas of recommended.
Well, who else is there? There's only Lamas Zopa that was recommended, right?
The Heart Sutra, King of Prayers, Sutra Remembering the Three Jewels.
They're the three things he's recommended. That's it. Is that it?
There may be more.
You don't remember? Okay, that's fine. So there's various things he recommends to do. So I suppose, I mean, if we think, what's the meaning of this? So this is conventional reality, okay? It's conventional reality. So in conventional reality, you know, you have a thing called a wedding, and it's a special day. And you have a thing called a birthday, and you have a thing called all these things. We you know, make certain points to do certain things. We're creatures of social habits, and you know, and we do things, we make things, we create things. So that's what we're doing here. It's a conventional truth. Certain days of the lunar calendar should be more powerful. The configuration of the various elements and the planets or whatever, you know, like that. So then what's a prayer even? What is a prayer, you know? Well, if you say to your doctor, please, doctor, will you give me some medicine? That's a prayer. It's a request. Not a request. Sometimes it's a request. Sometimes it's a wish. Many of the prayers that we do are aspirations. May this, may that, may all beings be happy, may I get enlightened, may I do this, may I never give up this, may this. They're aspirations, they're positive thoughts, aspirations to yourself. Not asking someone to give it to you. You might have the Buddha in front of you as an inspiration, but it's you developing the wish to do that yourself. So it's very powerful. It's like positive thinking. That's one aspect. So there's other things, for example, here there's all the sutras of the Buddha. You know, people often recite them because they're the Buddha's words. So the one here is the Heart Sutra. We're going to do this one. So it's quite short. And like I mentioned, I think already, I did yesterday, we talked about emptiness. Buddha's sitting there in meditation. Apparently, that's often how he gave his teachings. He channeled his thoughts into the minds of his disciples, and clearly they're realizations. They can access those thoughts, right? Kind of advanced people. So this Heart Sutra, which we'll do first. Get it open. Oh, where is it? Put it on the screen then. We can have it on the screen, the Heart Sutra. Heart Sutra on the screen. Huh?
I think Patty's going to be doing that.
I can't see it on my screen. There it is. There it is. Okay. So the Heart Sutra. What's this? Oh gosh, I've got all this English and Tibetan in between. What a drag. Okay, that's all right. Okay, never mind. We'll manage. So, can I manage it, please? I'm a bossy person. I want to manage my own life. Can I do the scrolling, please?
Patty is online control.
Am I allowed to share?
Yeah.
Yeah, you should be.
I've got to have my own screen then, my own trip. Okay, I've got to get my own thing on it. Forget it. You do it. Who's doing it? Who's doing the scrolling?
I am online, Robina, Venerable Robina.
Who?
Patty, online.
Who?
Patty.
Patty, as we say in Australia. Patty.
Yes.
Patty. No, Patty can keep doing it. Patty can keep doing it. Thank you, Patty. Patty. It sounds ridiculous, isn't it? So, okay, where are we? So this Heart Sutra, there's Lord Buddha sitting there in meditation, visualize. Now, if you've been to Vulture Peak, you know there's this cute little place. You climb up and up and up. It takes 20 minutes to walk there. And it's up right up in the sky. And it's amazing, super quiet, blazing blue sky, blazing hot, especially in the summer, totally quiet. And he gave a lot of his teachings up there. It's very small, very small. So in the Heart Sutra, it says a great host. They were sitting there and there was a great host of monks and a great host of bodhisattvas. And I always wondered, where on earth do they sit? So I asked Geshe Dugpa, our teacher in San Francisco, and he said, oh, what do you think? In the sky, he said. So we visualize we're in the sky, hanging out with the Buddha. We recite this Heart Sutra, and he's sitting there in meditation, absorbed in emptiness, okay? Absorbed in the direct realization of the non-inherent existence of all phenomena. And then he's channeling his thoughts to Shariputra and to 10th level Bodhisattva Avalokitesvara. In other words, in the form of a human. And so Shariputra asks a question of Avalokitesvara, and he answers, and the rest of the sutra is his answer, but it's actually Buddha's teaching. And at the end, Buddha comes out of his thing and he praised them for saying the right words, but in fact, it was his teachings. Apparently, he gave a lot of his teachings like this. So basically, when it says the perfection of wisdom, it means it's the perfection vehicle, which is the Mahayana vehicle, the Mahayana Sutra vehicle, not the Hinayana component, the Mahayana. So emptiness is indeed a Hinayana teaching in its nature, but there's this take on it in the Mahayana approach, because it's combined with bodhicitta. So the perfection of wisdom, it's the sixth of the perfections of the Bodhisattva. And basically, what the instruction is that all the different, basically it's a list, as I said, a list of all the groups of phenomena according to the Buddhist worldview. First, the 5 aggregates. This is a teaching the Buddha gave that divided up the components of a person into these 5 little groups, First, there's the body, form. Then there's the next 2. Okay, we've got to go into it a little bit. I'll go into it a little bit. The next, so we've got to visualize Buddha here. So, sorry, imagine Buddha's in front of us, up in the sky, happy to be with us, in this form of a monk, golden light body, saffron robes, sitting on a lotus, and not a multicolored one. And that lotus is sitting on a throne, a seat that you'd offer to an actual person, the Buddha. Imagine him, looking radiant and beautiful. And he's got this very top knot. And just imagine him there. And again, we can think he's the same mind as our spiritual mentor, just sitting in the sky, if you imagine. So there's the 5 aggregates. And we start doing this, we will go for 3 hours, so we can't do that. We haven't got the time. But the 5 aggregates is really just a way of breaking up into components what makes up a person. So of course there's extensive teachings on it, and hearing it initially sounds kind of random and abstract, but like all of this information, it's like that until you go into it. So the first is the form. It's called form, meaning the physical. Then there's next two. Okay, when you study the Buddhist, the model of the mind, you learn there's a two, the epistemological model of the mind, the way it functions, sensory, conceptual, blah, blah, blah. The other one is the contents of the mind, you know, the virtues, the delusions, and these mechanical bits, like I said, these three categories. So Buddha plucks out two of these and gives them special status. The next one is called feeling, which is this one of either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral, neither negative nor positive, but in that mechanical level. Sensory or mental, every millisecond there's either a pleasant feeling, an unpleasant feeling, or a neutral feeling. It's the way they talk, you know. So he gives you special status, this one, because of the powerful role it plays in binding us to samsara, because we're all addicted to pleasant feelings, and we're convinced that getting what attachment wants is the way to get pleasant feelings. So we, you know, tip our lives down the toilet. And the second one is called discrimination, which plays a massive role also in samsara. Discrimination is one of these constantly, there's a group of states of mind. When you study the text called Low Rig, you study these 51 different mental factors, or we'd say states of mind. And there's a particular group called the five always present mental factors, all doing their job together. Like a hand is made up of 5 digits, all doing their job to make the hand do a good job. So these 5 are always there. They're in this mechanical group. They're not virtue or non-virtue, but they're crucial in order to function. So feeling is one of them. It's always there. It's always either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. Then the other one, discrimination, is the ability, simply the ability to discriminate between this and that. So if you didn't have that, you'd be lost. Like even just when we look around the room, there's a million different shapes and sizes, and we go there, fan, this, that, chair, blue, pink, person, black, white. It's constantly working. And this is a crucial one that we need that causes us to stay in samsara, but equally we can use it to help us get out of samsara by using it to distinguish between a virtue and a non-virtue, which is the key job of being a Buddhist. These give special status. Form, feeling, or recognition, they call recognition, discrimination, same one. The next lot is like a grab bag left over of all the other 49 mental factors and all the other bits and pieces that make us up. Doesn't matter the details. And the fifth one's called consciousness, which is the mind in general. The 5 aggregates, okay? So the next grouping, the 5 aggregates, then there's the 18 constituents, which is the first 6 of those are the 6 senses, the sensory consciousnesses. So there's the 5, but in this grouping they refer to the mental consciousness as the 6th one, although technically it's not a sensory. Mental consciousness. The next lot are the objects of those 6. Sight, sound, blah, blah. And then the third grouping is what we don't posit in the world, is a subtler, the sense, like different words they use, but there's like a subtler physical energy that is necessary for these all to work together to have a cognition of the senses. So that's 18 constituents. The next one is the 12 links, the 12 links of dependent arising, these things that are playing out every second of the day that keep us locked in samsara. And then there's the 4 noble truths, these lists of things, right? And each of them is empty, and each has to be contemplated again and again in order to realize that they have no intrinsic nature. And then he proceeds to say, form is empty. And uses the example of the very first one, form. It could be anything there. It could say, I am empty. Emptiness is I. I is nothing other than emptiness, and emptiness is nothing other than I. Or whatever you want to put there. Because everything has no intrinsic nature. Everything is empty. So the first one is stating conventional reality. There is a thing called an I. There is a thing called form. There is a thing called computer, conventionally, by agreement. We construct it. We agree upon it. We shake hands, and then we discuss. That's conventional, by convention. It has got a conventional character. But what happens, as we've been talking, is delusion in the mind, ignorance, then stamps on it this extra level of reality, which it doesn't have, permanent, set in stone, actual, real, inherent, intrinsic, from its own side, not dependent. We do that automatically. So the Buddha is telling us form, I, is empty of inherent existence. And then he says that emptiness of inherent existence of the I, that emptiness of the inherent existence of the I is the conventional I. So the conventional the conventional I is empty of existing from its own side. And then that emptiness of existing from its own side is equivalent to the conventional I. So in other words, you can't have them separate, like we've been talking. The emptiness of inherent cup is a thing that exists right where? Right on the cup. The absence of inherent existence of me. The absence of inherent existence of me exists right where me is, not in the toilet, not in the chair, not in the sky. Oh, everything's empty. Where? Oh, I don't know. It's all empty. It's silly. You look to where you think the I, okay. If you, an ordinary example, simple example again. Let's say I tell you, I ask you to please go get my iPad. I left it on the table with the other devices, And you go in the room, and this is the point now, because what Buddha is telling us is he's saying there is no I in there, intrinsic one, but he says you've got to look for it. If you think there is one, you've got to look for it and then prove to yourself it's not existing. So where you look is the point. Where do I find the emptiness of the I? Like I said, not on the toilet, not on the table, not in the sky, but right where you think the I is. Right where you think the I is here. That's where you look. So the presence, I'm going to go back to the iPad. The present, the conventional I, the dependent arising I is empty of existing independently. And then flip it over. The absence of independent I is equivalent to the presence of conventional I. So they're together. So if we have to search for that I, where do we search? It's obvious. You search where you think it is. You don't think your I is in the toilet. So don't search in the toilet for your I. If I say to you, please go find my iPad in the lounge room, on the table, with the devices, that's precise. So you go in there. Now, if you don't know what my iPad looks like, you can look until the cows come home. If you've got 57 iPads on that table, even if you have 5 iPads, until you know what mine looks like, how can you look for it? First, you'll look where I said I left it. You don't go look in the toilet if I say I left it in the lounge. You look in the lounge. And then you have to know what you're looking for in the lounge. So if you don't know what's on the table, but in the lounge, you establish the parameters of your search. Then you have to look everywhere, under the cushions, behind that, behind the wall, down there, behind this, under there. You have to do a definitive search, a search such that you are certain of either of two things. There is an iPad and there isn't. But if you don't even know what the iPad looks like, you can search until the cows come home. And you will never be certain whether my iPad is there or not. So you've got to know what you're looking for. And this is a bit weird for us because Buddha's just telling us there is no I in the first place. So how the hell do we supposed to look for it? He says, because we believe so strongly, we have to conjure, and this is the hardest part, we have to conjure, become clear about what we think our I is. This is the toughest one. This is the most difficult. Anyway, the point I'm making here about the Heart Sutra, the emptiness of your intrinsic I, the absence of your intrinsic I, the non-existence of your intrinsic I, that emptiness, that absence is a thing that you must cognize, and where you find it is right there on the conventional I. So therefore, conventional I is equivalent to the emptiness of independent I. They're not technically correct there. That's not technically correct, but it's implying the point. You can't have emptiness without the conventional. You can't have the ultimate without the conventional. Because ultimate, the absence of inherent I, is a phenomenon that exists right on the I. And we have to go through like that with all the phenomena, again and again, repeatedly. So why don't we say it? These words. Patty, please. Thank you. Okay. What happened? Here we go. The Heart of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. So you can just listen if you like. You can do what you like. It doesn't matter. So thus did I hear at one time. the Bhagavan, the Buddha, was dwelling on massive Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha. We can sing together, we can say it together, let's chant, say it together, if you want to. Together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, Avalokitesvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, Avalokitesvara: how should any son of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that. And the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokitesvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those 5 aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, and form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discrimination, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, within emptiness, a Buddha this sutra is spoken from the perspective of a person absorbed in emptiness. So within emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness. And the next grouping, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. Next grouping, objects of the senses, no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no object of touch, and no phenomenon. Next grouping, there's no I element, and so on, up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. Next grouping, there is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on, up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Finally, the Four Noble Truths. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Without fear, the delusions have gone. The drama queens have died. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the 3 times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared: ta ta, gate, pada samgate, bodhi svaha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Now the Buddha, he arises. Buddha arose from that concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva. Come on, Arya lives, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, Avalokitesvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Okay, so let's go back. Keep it there. Patty, put it back. Thank you. Scroll down. No, go back up. Go back up. Okay, stop. Stop. Too far. Go down. Slowly. Wait. Stop. Stop. No. Stop. Find. Stop. Okay, stop. Now we said before, know this, know that, know this, know that, and then there is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. What that means is stop. Stop. That's it, Patty. Shush. Thank you. Exalted wisdom is meaning the realization of how things exist, emptiness. And then he says that also the attainment of that wisdom. So when he says no, wisdom means it's empty. Then he says the attainment of that wisdom is empty. But also the non-attainment, meaning the absence of it, the emptiness of inherent attainment is also empty. So in other words, emptiness itself being a phenomenon, not a nothingness, the absence of inherent I is a real, vivid thing that exists, albeit abstract, but it's real, it's a phenomenon, it's an existent, it's an object of knowledge, it's a thing you can cognize, so it exists. So that absence, so there's the attainment of, there's wisdom, there's the attainment of wisdom, and then there's the emptiness of that attainment. And that too is empty. That's what it means, also no non-attainment. So emptiness of intrinsic existence of a cup is itself empty of intrinsic existence. The cup is empty of intrinsic existence. The mind that realizes it is empty of intrinsic existence. So whatever you can posit as existing, as soon as you say a noun, which is an existent, it is empty by definition, necessarily. There can be nothing that exists that isn't empty. It qualifies that which exists. And it tells us that it does exist. Because things are empty, it proves they do exist. Because you can't say it is empty if you haven't got an it. You say if it is empty, you've got to have an it that's empty, don't you? So you have to say an I first, then it's empty. So it sounds tricky. But once we know the words, we can then put some taste of it, you know. Are we communicating? No.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, this next prayer. What's next? What do we say we do, Sheila? No, quit that one. We've taken refuge already. No, we didn't. Sangye chedang soke chom namla janchu baru dagni kyapsu chi dagi chönyen gipe sonam ki drola penche sangye drupa shog sangye chedang soke chom namla janchu baru dagni kyapsu chi dagi chönyen gipe sonam ki drola penche sangye drupa shog. We say the English. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits, by the virtue I create, by listening to these teachings, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Go down more. Patty, stay there. Go. Patty. Control. Okay, we've done that a lot. We'll skip that one. Skip the next. Keep going. Let's see what else is there. That's it. Oh, I see. What did we say we'd do off?
It's separate documents.
Oh, it's another.
King of Prayers and.
Okay, give us the King of Prayers. That's good. Give us the King of Prayers. Well, that's going to take a while, isn't it? That's 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. What else do we say we'd do?
The other one is the Sutra Remembering the Vigils.
How long does that take? Huh?
It's,
That'll do for now. No, leave it. Close it. Close it, Patty. That'll do for now. We said enough prayers. So, let's have an assessment. We have to do today. We have to do the refuge and body and vows, the lay vows. Have a cup of chai and a cookie. That's about all, really, isn't it? We've got time then. We're okay. So, are there any questions? Yes, sweetheart. Microphone.
You mentioned about attainment and non-attainment.
Yeah.
So can you go back over the non-attainment?
Okay. All that what it's saying is what he means is the emptiness of attainment. That's all. The emptiness of attainment.
But it's a list of things that are empty, and so
the list of things is first wisdom.
Yep.
Wisdom. Wisdom is empty. I mean, then the attainment in my mind of wisdom is also empty, and then the attainment itself is empty. And then that attainment itself is empty. And then that emptiness of that attainment is also empty. That's the listing.
But if I have non-attainment, that is also empty.
So non-attainment is emptiness of attainment. That's all. So wisdom is empty. And then the attainment of that wisdom in my mind is empty. And then that attainment itself is empty. And then the emptiness of attainment itself, which is also a phenomenon, is also empty. So he's just saying there's nothing you can find that isn't empty. So emptiness itself is a phenomenon. That's the thing we have to get our head around. This whole idea of a phenomenon, you've got to clear what Buddha means by that, because we don't use these words. We say phenomenon, we haven't got the same way of saying it. When you study Buddhist philosophy, in this particular text that you study first, called Collected Topics, or Dura, the very first thing you learn, you learn the nuts and bolts of the Buddhist worldview, all these things we just read, these lists. So the very first thing is the listing of the synonyms for that which exists. And why that's so tremendously powerful for the Buddha is because he's telling us that we are cognizing things that don't exist. I mean, a delicious cake there that I think will make me happy, which is what I see when I see cake, does not exist. It's very simple. A cake does exist. It is a chocolate cake. It will trigger pleasure, but the delusions are decorating on top of what does exist. That's the point. This fantasy cake. So he wants us to be super clear. Very first thing, the universe consists of phenomena. The conventional world, that which is cognized by mind, a valid state of mind, is what defines something as existing. So if it exists, it's called an existent, a phenomenon, an object of knowledge, an established base. They're like 5 synonyms. That's the starting point. And now he wants us to now to understand those phenomena conventionally. And then we finally understand how they exist ultimately, which is that they are all empty of existing as this, as that, as this, as that. So it's the starting point. So whatever can be cognized by the mind qualifies it as something that exists. So when you go to look in the room for my iPad, and you will find either of 2 things with certainty. One, you will find either my iPad, in which you say, Robina, here's your iPad back. Or 2, you will find the absence of the iPad. Like when you look in the bank account, what you just cognized, oh my God, where's my $5,000? You just cognized a thing called the absence of $5,000. It's not playing with words. This is how conceptuality works. Are we communicating?
Yes.
So the absence of an iPad, okay, this is where it's not nothingness. Oh. When you go look at my iPad, you don't come out and say, oh, there's nothing there, Robina. Yeah. No, you won't say that. You will say there is no iPad. It'll be a very specific absence of something, not like nothingness, Now, if you think there's $5,000 in your bank, only you will observe the thing called the absence of $5,000 because you expected it, right? But if I look in the bank, I don't expect anything, so I see what's real, which is zero. That's true. That is nothingness. I see the truth. You don't see that. You see the very specific phenomenon called the absence of your precious $5,000. So when the yogi in their meditation, finally, when the penny drops, they will cognize nakedly and first time ever, vividly, nakedly, not nothingness, but the absence of something that they always thought existed. Can you see the difference? So whatever the mind cognizes exists. It's a thing. It's an existent. It's a phenomenon. So in this sense, emptiness exists. But when we hear it, we just hear nothingness. We hear nihilism. And that's the mistake. Are we communicating?
Yes.
Yes.
My follow-up, sorry, quickly would be, in the visualization this morning, you talked about being free from right and wrong, good and bad, fundamentalist views. Where does attachment to views, including attachment to views about Buddhism, come into it?
What is what?
Where does attachment to views in general and attachment to Buddhist views?
Oh, anything. If it's attachment, it's called attachment. The delusion is attachment. But if it's like the fundamentalist view, I'm right and you're wrong, that's ignorance. That's named ignorance. The delusion functioning is ignorance. So when it's attachment to whatever it is, if it's attachment, then that's the delusion that's functioning. You grasp onto that as mine, and therefore you see it as true, Yeah, do you understand? Yes, Linda, sweetheart.
Thank you. When you were stating about the computer and guiding someone to go get it, it reminded me of the slurping and me having...
Say it again, what?
It reminded me of what we discussed with the slurping, and I had to understand it differently. This now is like jolted me, because I'll say to my husband, go get the coat.
Amen.
You
And
can't
then-
find the coat
and then-
because I am not being specific,
Okay,
as you stated.
right, there you go.
You know,
So how can he find it if he doesn't know what he's looking for? Exactly. That's one of the first steps, to be clear. That's exactly right. Exactly. Good point.
so I'm going to go back home with all
Be
these.
much more clear. Be precise with your words. Point. So true. Any other questions about this business we're discussing here? Yeah. Go, darling.
Could you please speak again on dependent arising?
Hmm?
Can you talk about dependent arising again? And
Dependent
these are
arising.
the same, correct?
Go on.
Is it correct that emptiness and dependent arising are just two frameworks to talk about the same
They're the flip
thing?
side of the coin.
Can you talk about it in terms of dependent arising again?
Talk about what?
Emptiness.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So if we use the word simply, just use these simple words, things exist. So things exist conventionally, and how they exist conventionally is as dependent arisings, meaning they exist not in and of themselves isolated, but they're coming together either of causes. Many things come together. The first level of dependent arising is that I am the product of many causes.
Mm-hmm.
Second one is that I am made up of many parts. So I exist in dependence upon many parts. And each of these is arguing with a prevailing view at the time that there is a permanent uncaused I, that there is an I that doesn't have parts. So these are implicitly arguments against philosophical positions, but also that are instinctive within our mind. Do you understand? And then finally, that I exists in dependence upon the mind labeling it I. These are the three levels of dependent arising. And each of those is the way things exist dependently, and then it proves, therefore, they can't exist independently. So dependent arising is things exist interdependently, and therefore things can't be independent. So emptiness refers to not independent, and interdependent refers to interdependent. They're opposite. So the absence of independence is the same as interdependence. The absence of independence is the same as dependent. Do you understand?
Yes. Can follow up. Can you speak to what the subtle air energy is that?
No idea.
Great.
It's just the four elements. You've got to study the four elements. It's their science. It's the way the old world used to use like that, and Buddhism still do. Vajrayana calls it all that.
Maybe not what it is, but is that also empty of its own side?
Did you hear what I said before talking to him? Remember the words?
I did not observe it, no.
There cannot be a thing that is not empty. If
That
it were,
included.
it can't exist.
That includes.
That's the point.
Yes.
Because everything's a dependent arising.
Great.
So if it's not dependent arising, it can't exist. It can't. It's not possible, according to this view. Therefore,
Okay.
everything that is empty has to be what exists. Therefore, there's nothing that isn't empty. There can't be. And that's the point in the Buddhist tenets. When you study the Buddhist tenets, all the different viewpoints over the centuries, many viewpoints have come. Like if you did a list of all the Christian views in the world, there'd be sort of 40,000, wouldn't there? Different Christian tenets. Well, there are many Buddhist views that have developed over the centuries. And there's this text that you study called Buddhist tenets. And it's a listing of all the different groupings. The Hinayana ones, 18 of those, 16 different views. And they all mainly differ in terms of their view of emptiness. So some of the earlier views of emptiness say that there is an I, and there is this. So it keeps getting more subtle, until what they call the Prasangika Madhyamika view, which is the view we're discussing in this room, where finally all things that exist, both phenomena and I's, have no intrinsic nature.
Getting there. Thank you.
Okay.
Venerable Robina, we have a question online.
Yes, Eileen, talk to me, sweetheart.
Robina, so therefore, as the prayer said, old age, sickness, and death, going through the bardos, rebirth, we could say that all of that is also empty of inherent existence.
That's why Lama Zopa in his dedication prayers, he would say, I dedicate I, which is empty from its own side, dedicate, which is empty from its own side, merit, which is empty from its own side, for all sentient beings who are empty from their own side, reminding us that there's nothing that we say and do and think that exists that isn't empty, to remind us. Because the deep, primordial, utter, absolute, instinctive belief in the bones of our being And therefore, the way everything appears to us is as if it's existing from its own side, out there, having nothing to do with innocent victim me. I'm a victim of all this world. Things happen to me, like I play no role. That's the consequence of not realizing emptiness. Yeah.
This is just a question about the refuge vows. If somebody
I didn't finish. I've got to say some more things.
Sorry.
Go on.
Should I ask my question, or you want to?
Yeah, go.
Okay. If somebody has been studying Buddhism and they're ready to take the refuge vows, and let's say
Not refuge vows. There is refuge, and various commitments come with that, which I forgot to discuss. The decisions to do something, and then the second part of the ceremony is vows, which are things you decide to refrain from.
okay, the commitments that you said, that what you just mentioned, the commitments, and then I guess the 5 vows that you're actually taking. If let's say a visiting teacher is giving that, but somebody doesn't necessarily see that visiting teacher as their teacher, is it better to take?
You don't take it. Of course you wouldn't. Why would you want to make someone your teacher if they're not? You have to decide that they are.
Yeah, my question is, is it better to take vows because it's more powerful when you take vows, or is it better to take it from a teacher?
No, I repeat. It's a serious commitment, and then you make a connection with that person. So you develop some kind of relationship with that person who's handing on to you from Buddha these, you make a strong connection with that person. So they will become one of your teachers. So you've got to be ready for that. If you don't want them as one of your teachers, you do not take.
Okay.
Very clear. You have to decide that. Not just do it because it's fun and it's there, it's available.
Okay.
And we can have 57 teachers too. You can have as many teachers as you like. All that means is you develop some kind of, in the simplest level, some kind of respectful view that they're representing Buddha for you. If you've got the Vajrayana view, you'd have the view that they are the Buddha for you. So we have to, according to our capacity, have that wish. I mean, you can go to many teachings and really respect the teachings, but you don't have to have that person as your teacher. But if you take refuge and join in, they become one of your teachers. So you have to decide if you want that. It's very clear. Okay. You understand me?
Yeah. And it's okay even if they're not around all the time to, like let's say you do see them as
what's that got to do with the price of fish? My karmas are dead. That means they stop being my teachers? What are you talking about?
Okay, that actually answers, yeah.
That answers the question?
Yeah.
Thank you.
What happens if you've taken vows with somebody that's since disrobed?
No, nothing to do with anything. Not relevant. Not being a monk or nun has no relevance. That's not the point. Do you understand? So the few commitments. So when you take refuge, you're kind of like doing it. You're sort of like shaking hands and making a contract with somebody. It's sort of like that. You agree to certain things, which is very reasonable. If you go and borrow money from the bank, you agree to do certain things, and you prefer not to break that contract. So here, the kind of if you like contracts, just putting it loosely, So when you take refuge, you're agreeing. There's half a dozen things, I think. The people who do, I'm going to send it to you in a document. You're going to email me, and I'll send you the document, and I'll send you a way of seeing what a daily practice is, and we can discuss and everything, and I'll give you a name. These kinds of things will happen. So you get my email address. But the thing is, the various commitments, first you're committing to remember to take refuge. Even to say, I take refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha 3 times in the day, to remind you. That's it. Second one is to you make offerings. When your first mouthful of food and drink, you think first, and it's a really nice practice, like we do before our meals. But here specifically, you just visualize the Buddha, imagine the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and you just want to make offering. It's really nice to give up attachment. It helps give up attachment, to think before you put the food in the mouth. You're committed to be nice, at least nice to sentient beings, not be mean to sentient beings broadly. These are not the vows yet. These are commitments, agreements to do something. And then you, I think, also agree that as representations of the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, statue, text, monks and nuns, as the relative Sangha, you agree to kind of have sort of a pure view towards them. They represent those 3 things that you're going to rely upon in your Buddhist practice. So an attitude of respect towards them. So that always expresses itself, and especially among the Tibetans. You have a statue, for example, you put it up high. And I think we understand that. If you have a photo of your, a beautiful framed photo of your beloveds, you wouldn't just put it in a drawer, unless it's your ex-husband. You wouldn't put it on the floor. You wouldn't sit on it. You'd be very offended if someone did that because you treat it with, it's meaningful to you. So it really is a nice attitude. You put it up high. It's respected. The statues, the pictures of your lamas, it's got great meaning, Don't think it as superstitious instruction. It's got meaning. You respect it. It's meaningful for you. And you'd put your books, you'd treat your Dharma books, which is the actual refuge, the instructions. You'd give that the best place, the top place. Typically, you have your books on top, then your pictures. That's how they say. So it's a very meaningful view, that this is the advice that you need to put into practice. Otherwise, you're lost, And the third is you'd have in the Buddhist traditions, and this is not very familiar in our culture, but you'd have respect for anybody living in the fullness of vows of being a monk or a nun, because their presence represents the livingness of the Dharma in that place. They're the main things. Clear? You didn't ask me that, but I forgot to tell you. Is that clear, people? You try and get the meaning of these in our modern sort of cultural way. Understand the meaning of them. It's a bit like if you formally agree to learn tennis from Roger Federer and you shake hands on it. Well, he would ask you to do some practice every day. That's reasonable. There's no commitment to do practice every day, but it's always helpful. So I'd always say, and I'm going to say this in the letter that I send people, a little kind of way to set up a formal kind of practice. But we are creatures of habit. And we know that a discipline is helpful for us. And if you want to try and play tennis, if you just think about it occasionally, you've taken refuge in Roger Federer, but you never play any tennis. It's kind of contradictory. So to put your money where your mouth is kind of helpful. So having a structured practice really helps our mind. And this is our biggest problem because we're all lazy. And this is a good point. I want to talk about laziness. I'll do it in a second. We I'll do it later or something, and then we forget it before you know it. So it's really good and I think it's really good also, it's what I say in my letter when I send you. It's really good to start your day. To start your day that way. Just to do the first thing. As soon as you wake up, you remember impermanence. As soon as you get out of bed, if you want to do 3 prostrations, I like to do that. And then I always think that knock on the door and it's Lama Zopa and I'll bring him in. There's no way in the world I'll sit him down and then go have my breakfast. Excuse me, I'll offer to him first. So these offerings, there's a lovely way coming from the Vajrayana that's in the letter I'm going to send to make the water bowl offerings, these things here. It's got great meaning. It's based on an Indian, the tradition in India of, these are called these 8 sense offerings. That's from the Vajrayana. So the first one is, if you have a guest, your first thing is you wash their feet. So the very first one is water for washing. The second one, you offer them a nice drink. Next one is water for drinking. The next one is, or nectar. The third one is you offer a flower garland. The third one is flowers. The fourth is incense. The fifth, you put the lights on. The sixth, it's perfume. I always think it's getting sexy now. The seventh is you bring out the dinner. And the eighth is music. You bring out the dancing girls. This is my way of saying it, okay? So these represent that. And why it's water, because Atisha, this Indian yogi and scholar who was invited to Tibet in the 11th century, and he spent the rest of his life then, 17 years or something in Tibet. He came along and he found that kind of Tibet had lost the plot a bit. There were all these Vajrayana yogis hanging around, and they kind of hadn't. And he wrote these little texts that kind of put everything in a nice orderly way and put things in the different levels. Sutrayana first, then the Mahayana, then the Hinayana, Mahayana, then the Vajrayana. And he said, instead of, because it's Vajrayana, instead of becoming attached to your beautiful offerings on the altar, you just visualize water. He said Tibetan water was so pure, you'd use water and you visualize flowers, you visualize music, you visualize, It's very nice, I think. So that offering I love that offering. And it's very nice. You do that first, in the morning before you do anything else. Get out of bed, do your prostrations, go to the toilet, come to your altar, and then you make your offerings to your guru as the Buddha. All these things you've got to develop. If you haven't got all that view yet, then okay, think about it. Then you have your breakfast. And then you can do something, then you can do some practice if you like, then or later, as you wish. But as soon as, before you go to work, before you do other things. And even if it's a 5-minute practice, it doesn't have to be long. You're not committing to a 4-hour practice. You're not even committing to sit down at all. You do your commitments, and then anything else is a bonus, Are we communicating? So even a short one. So there's certain components of a nice practice will be offerings, very beneficial. And then there'll be taking refuge. And then because it's a Mahayana path, you generate your body teacher as well. Then maybe you do a little meditation. Maybe you say a few prayers, whatever, touch your heart, just to move your mind. Maybe you motivate for the day. And that's it. It can be 5 minutes, it could be 20 minutes. It's up to you, And at the end of the day, it's not part of the commitment, but I request strongly you finish with the 4 opponent powers, even a short version of it, very quickly in your mind, sincerely regretting the rubbish because you're sick of suffering, having compassion and taking refuge, doing the little visualization and determining to change. And then you go to bed with a happy mind. Okay? Okay? Okay. Good. Structure helps. We know that. So why do we keep putting off our practice? Why do we give it up? And then we have so much regret about it, don't we? It's like a burden we carry, It's because of laziness. And this is very strange. And the fourth of the 6 perfections is called enthusiasm and called joyful effort. Sounds very peculiar to us. Or perseverance. So when we understand the opposite, it puts it in very clear focus, And the opposite is called laziness. So there are 3 levels. The first one is the obvious one. Can't be bothered. Okay? So you have to ask the question, what is it we can't be bothered doing? Well, it's obvious. It's the thing that takes effort. So then you have to ask the question, what takes effort? Guess what? The thing that attachment doesn't like. Because attachment wants to be in its comfort zone. Attachment's got sex and drugs and rock and roll and approval, but the grossest, most primordial attachment is to be comfortable. Do you understand my point? Mental and physical comfort. Nothing wrong. But the laziness is, I can't be bothered. Can't be bothered making effort. Because attachment is not happy. Attachment wants to be feeling safe and comfy, This is the very first level, and it's so obvious to us. So all that I'm saying is very logical, that if you don't know the benefits of doing something, why would you do it? There's no logical reason. So you have to convince yourself of the benefits. And that's what's quite hard here. There's long-term benefits, or even short-term, and not that easy to access, But I mean, in the world, ordinary worldly activity, when you know the benefits of going to the gym every day, that'll enthuse you to go. That'll cause you to make the effort to go beyond the comfort zone. But it takes effort. It really takes effort even to make effort. We know that, but you've got to be logical. You've got to have a logical reason to enable you to want to do it, And you'll be the beneficiary. Now, the second kind is so tricky, and this is our favorite. Oh, I can't, I'm too busy, we'll say. We procrastinate. So what is it you put off doing? Well, the first one is I can't be bothered. Then you make it sound like a virtue. Oh, I'm too busy. I'll do it later. This is the one we all do. And so, again, it's the same logic. What do you put off? The thing that takes effort. So, but you make it, this is more wicked than the first one because you make it sound like a virtue and you get yourself off the hook. Phew, I'll do it later. But we know later never comes. And so and it's worse because it's a burden we carry. It's much more painful than doing the thing. And when you do it, you're shocked that it only took 20 minutes. And you're so happy with yourself, So we have to remember this again and again, that we feel good about ourselves when we do make the effort. An effort is necessarily the opposite to attachment. If you're attached to the goal, then you'll make effort. Look at the people who go to the gym. The effort, they're exhausted, sweating, exhausted, but they are so keen on the result. And the third one sounds a bit abstract, but it's not possible. I can't achieve that. So it's all like seemingly humble. You see, when I think of Lama Zopa Rinpoche, my teacher, and if you think of these bodhisattvas, remember that a bodhisattva, forget about a Buddha, they don't need a body. You've got to remember this. They don't need to be born. They can whiz off into the Pure Lands and get enlightened in 3 seconds. They don't need to. They've done the job. They've finished their karma. Even the bodhisattvas still got some left, but they don't need to be reborn once you realize emptiness and so on. Something like that. So why do you think they take a body? Out of compassion. So the only reason they're there is to show us how to become. They're there for our benefit. So if I've chosen Lama Zopa as my teacher, His Holiness the Dalai Lama as my teacher, and they're showing me by that behavior how I can act too, right? And then I say, oh, I can't do that. That's insulting them. It's pissing on them. I'm sorry, be rude. They've just done it. They're a regular guy. They become this. They say, you can do it too, Robina. And I'm showing you how to do it. Oh, I acted like I'm humble. Oh, no, I couldn't do that. Oh, I'm not capable. It's the worst laziness of all. You sit in your comfort zone totally. Do we understand? I'm sure we all communicate. Okay, then. So have some enthusiasm. You've got to develop it. It comes slowly. And it's one step at a time. And as a Tibetan saying, nothing ever gets more difficult with practice. Remember that. So we have to know the benefit. And we are the best. Stop thinking about bodhicitta. Oh, yeah, benefit of others. It's too advanced. Start with yourself. Don't think nervous. Don't think that's selfish. We think that's selfish. It's absurd. You have to see the benefits to you of practicing, of you giving up your attachment, because you'll become more happy. Then you can then benefit others. So you're going to fall off the wagon and you forget about it, and then you get back on again. You just keep going. Don't give up. One step at a time. Never give up. Just keep going. Never keep moving. Just keep moving. Never give up. Pick yourself up. Just keep moving. One step at a time. Are we communicating?
Yeah.
Good.
Winston.
Huh?
Winston Churchill. Never, never, never give up.
There you go. That's right. Exactly. That's right. Exactly. Any questions? That's the commitments, and so that's a little bit every day, some practice is what I'm suggesting. And as you grow, of course, you grow pieces into your practice. And when you start taking empowerments and the bodhisattva vows, you have more practice. You add little pieces to it incrementally, gradually. It structures your day. It frames your day, And then, of course, studying the teachings, hearing the teachings is the stuff we put into our mind, If you never practice tennis, never hear the theories about it, you're going to give up. Of course, you're going to be bored. So practice doesn't just mean watching your breath. Practice means internalizing these concepts. That's practice every second of the day. You apply it to your life. The more you hear about karma, the more every time anything happens, you interpret it. Oh, wow, there's somebody kissed me. Must have resulted in my virtue. How fortunate. Must do it again. Someone steals from me. Must have stolen in the past. You learn from it straight away. Everything is our karmic appearance, as Lama Zopa says. Everything we experience out there is our karmic appearance. It's our garden. Whatever's in our life is our garden. Whether it's ugly or beautiful, we put it there. This is the point about karma. And if we don't apply that every day, we're not being Buddhist. Sitting watching your breath is fine, but, nothing special. And according to our capacity, we practice. You hear the teachings and you put it into practice. You make it experiential in your daily life. You use it as a view interpreting your life. That's practice. That's being a Buddhist. If you choose. No one says you have to. If you choose.
The sound bowl, is that part of the altar?
What, dear?
The sound bowl.
Show me where.
Right? No.
What?
Right underneath the microphone. Singing bowl.
No, I think Westerners have made that up. I've never seen a Tibetan bang a sound bowl in my life. I've no idea. I mean, it sounds nice, but I think Westerners have made it up. I don't think it's Tibetan. That looks like Tibetan tapestry, but I've never used it. I wouldn't know what to do with it. Let me check up. I think, yeah. I'm pretty sure Westerners have made it up. Hippies have made it up. I think so. I'm just going to check Google. Google knows everything. Oh, I can't do it on yours. I'll do it on mine. Hang on. So I just said that as a truth, so I don't want to be a liar. Google sometimes tells rubbish.
Now it's AI too.
I recall Dzongzar Khyentse Rinpoche telling us that once, that Tibetans never use singing bowls.
Hang on a second. I didn't hear what you said first. I'm just listening. I'm just checking. Yeah, singing bowls are largely a Western New Age creation popularized by the hippie movements starting in the late 1960s rather than an ancient Tibetan tradition. I agree. Who said what they just said then?
That was me, Lindsay, online.
Lindsay.
I just remember Dzongzar Khyentse Rinpoche saying that.
What I said?
Yeah. Yeah, he confirms that.
Hippie trip, okay? You can do it. You can do it if you want. Thank you. Very good, Lindsay. He's one of my lamas, so he backs me up. Thank you.
But
Yeah.
Tibetans also have their own sound healing practices. Like
Who said? Who told you? Where? I've never heard of
I've
any.
experienced Chod, CHOD, where they went.
Oh, that's not chud. That's not a sound. That's a practice. Yeah, but it's not a sound healing, honey child. That is a practice where you're sitting.
Right.
Where you're sitting in your highest, it's a highest yoga tantra practice where you're visualizing, ripping open your body and offering it to the spirits in a cremation ground, and you're banging the drum. It ain't healing, honey. It's realizing emptiness.
And how about the other instruments that they play as well?
It's nothing to do with healing. It's not healing. It's a sound. Of course, it's sound. Yeah. Of course, it is music.
Right.
It's music.
It cuts your attachment.
No, it doesn't necessarily. No. It's in tantra. Tantra uses the five senses, and music is one of the five senses, isn't it? So they're very medieval type of music that includes when we do pujas and prayers and we sing. So singing is music, singing is sound, instruments is sound. Right. It's not what we call hippie, like healing things, not like that.
Right. I understand.
But sound, of course, is very subtle and very powerful. Right. But the way we interpret it as hippies is a bit sort of hippie trippy. Right. But that is not, you can't argue. Even a mantra is sound, and that can be healing. But technically healing your mind, of course, and your body. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know that, because I've often thought about the different ways that sound can affect the person.
That's not wrong. I'm not disagreeing with it.
Right. Absolutely.
I'm just disagreeing with the hippie mentality that a sound, I mean, it's sort of not wrong, but it's been misinterpreted is what I suggest. That's what I'm saying. Misused, kind of simply, sort of trivialized.
Right.
I'd say like that. That's the best way to put it. Do you understand? Yes. So you're not wrong in what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
You talked about enlightened teachers that don't need to be here, but for our benefit.
The don't. Well, I'm wrong computer. Yeah. Yes, Joe. Sorry.
You talked about the fact that enlightened teachers who don't need to be here but are here for our benefit, and that we exactly and Buddhist. And I think, to use the Australian vernacular, you talked about you're really pissing them off by not actually practicing.
No, I didn't say that. I said it's kind of pissing on them.
Pissing on them.
Insulting them, not pissing them off. They don't mind.
So how do we what's the guidance on afflictive doubt that you can actually achieve? What is the guidance on any afflictive doubt you might have that you can progress all the way along the path that may prevent you from practicing?
I have to use ordinary examples. If I go to a tennis player and I say, will you please teach me tennis? They're going to look at me and know, because they have such knowledge, they will see I've got potential and they will accept me as a disciple and they will teach me to become like him.
That's why I asked you the other day, that I understand about the improvement and you have to work at it, but the confidence that you can achieve
by listening to the logic of Buddha nature and listening to the logic that delusions are adventitious, and by understanding the meaning of how all our delusions are rooted in misconceptions and what a misconception is and how conceptuality works. So you better study low rig and all the teaching, so it gives you the basis of arguments to give you the confidence that you've got Buddha nature, whether you like it or not. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because it's logical. So we've got to find the way to see it's logical, then it gives us confidence. Not just cross your fingers and hope for the best. Do you understand? That's the point. Yeah. Hello, Hayley.
Hi, Venerable. Thank you for the teachings. I did my Vajrasattva practice last night.
Beg your pardon, Hayley. Speak again.
I did my Vajrasattva practice last night, and I, make the sort of promise not to cause any harm or until 11:59 p.m. the next night. And then, within hours, I was sort of like, the mind was going crazy, and I was telling my boyfriend that he's breathing too loud. And then, like, I'm trying. I'm doing my practice regularly.
Not easy. This is really the learning from this. Before even turning to work on your mind, it's like the one about alcohol. If our mind isn't ready, is not capable of handling a certain external condition, It's not fair to yourself to expect yourself to do that. So if you really think you can't do it, then you should stop sleeping with your boyfriend or turn around the other side and put your feet in your face so you don't hear him. Because it's very difficult. But if you can and you're prepared to fall off the wagon and get back on again, then don't despair. Just try again.
Okay. Just keep going.
Or have got good earphones?
I'll get some.
Sound cancelling are really good.
Okay, thank you.
1 inch from a boyfriend's mouth. I don't know how you manage it, frankly. I don't know how you manage it. I really don't. I can't even imagine why I'd even bother putting that obstacle into my life. I can't think that the advantages are worth the disadvantages. That's why I wanted to live with this person in the same bed. That to me is the most horrific idea. I would rather go to prison. Not because I don't like people, because it's just too much of a job to do. Why would I put that job? It's like having my hands tied behind my back. Why would I want to do that? Sorry, not trying to make you all become a nun or something. But yes, darling. Are we clear, Hayley?
So
yes, thank you. Thanks.
So to follow on from that previous question, which we discussed earlier.
That's right.
So I actually practiced It's Just a Sound last night.
Okay, very good.
And I repeated.
What we're talking about? Come on.
And it was helping. Sorry?
Tell everybody else the story. You want to share it?
Okay, for sure. So we have
sleeping together 40 years. Come on.
And there's been sound issues
for 40 years
for that time. And so when you were talking about various sounds, and you said it's just a sound, so I thought I'd try it. I tried it one night, didn't work, but last night it was better. So I can't say it was great, but it was definitely better.
So then with practice, nothing gets more difficult. So remember that.
Yeah. And I just kept saying, it's just a sound. It's just a sound. Just a sound.
Okay.
So this is funny. My follow-up is Annette was snoring last night.
Oh, there you go. How interesting.
and so I also practiced. It's just a sound. It's just a sound.
So the Western answer is get a sleep apnea checkout.
That's right. I know exactly. So that's why you see we shouldn't just keep working on the mind. Use practical things like sound cancelling, like work on you finding a method to stop the snoring. I mean, even when I think, because I know I snore, but I'm only disturbing myself. It doesn't matter. But I know that when people say it's silly, but I found it works. And one woman I read about in The Guardian said it transformed her life. She simply closed her lips, so forcing herself to breathe through her nose. And so the boyfriend was able to sleep in peace for the first time in years. With tape. I mean, I know people say, oh, that's stupid, but I found it worked because you're forced to breathe through your nose. But you said you tried it, but it didn't work. No. But you said it still made. And you said
sometimes.
Yeah. So that's why if you do live together, you have to make these agreements with each other, don't you? You've got to work on your mind and also the other person try and do their side of it. And that's what makes practice so hard. And if you're prepared to do it, then I'll honour you, babies. But I'd rather do what I want. I mean, it's just, you understand, I could have turned into Hitler or Mother Teresa. I'm neither, but, I want to do what I want without anybody stopping me. It's very funny, I know. Okay, what else, people? Where are we at here? Yeah, go on. Leilani, talk to me.
Yeah, so with refuge, I have Bodhisattva vows.
Yes.
So can I just do the regular refuge?
You can renew your refuge anytime you like.
Yeah, no, but like in the morning, let's say when I'm doing when I'm saying refuge, do I have to recite both, or can I?
Oh gosh, yes, you must. And there's the lovely verse that when you do take, for example, take an initiation, highest yoga tantra initiation, or even another one, you first have to have the Bodhisattva vows, and they do it as a preliminary. And the verse that we recite, about 12 lines, that includes refuge and bodhicitta. It's perfect. So have you got
second question?
Yeah, go.
Is if sometimes I'll leave the house and forget to have done it, and then I'll find myself doing it while I'm walking or something. Totally fine. And mid conversation, because I'll start doing it in my head and someone will come talk to me. And I'm, trying to focus on them, but also trying to finish where I was.
That's of course. That's right. Exactly. We do our best. Come on. Yeah. What's the plan here? 10. We're fine. We're 10. When's tea? We're running late for tea. Tea's running late. She said 10:30. Oh, okay, fine. We'll have chai. Let's see. I'm going to go down and see if my recipe worked. If it's terrible tea, it's my fault because it's my recipe. Go on.
Will you share your recipe?
Well, let's see if the tea tastes good. If it does. My tea tastes good, but maybe they didn't do the right amount of ginger or something. Did you see how much ginger they put in?
I didn't see that.
You told them a big chunk.
I just gave them the
Let's
recipe.
hope they know what a big chunk means. You know, there's not enough to be boring.
A chunk of ginger.
Chunk, huh?
A chunk of ginger, you say?
Yeah, quite a big chunk. Yeah, go on.
It's a good question. If we only have, like you said, it's better to practice 5 minutes than.
I beg your pardon?
You said in the morning, like you just practice even 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That you said. Is there any meditation that you suggest for that 5 minutes, or just any meditation? Like, do you have a suggestion for a meditation if we only have 5
Yeah,
minutes?
of course I do. What do you think? Just go hit your racket. What kind? Oh, anything you like. Come on. I always debate with you. So, if you were planning to take refuge, you'll get a letter. If you're not, then you just do whatever you know. Are you a Buddhist? You do practices? You have practices you like? Well, then go do those. Good enough. What else, people?
Okay.
Yes, sweetheart.
So, with karma,
I beg your pardon.
My understanding, and this is some of my first teachings. I've been following you 6 months, and this is the beginning. So, with karma, there's
I think
like
it's
a whole
helpful if you
reincarnation.
speak into the mic.
The reincarnation, got it, aspect where your mind is going from kind of one person to an.
That's right.
In a way, I'm not using the words correctly, but they're moving onwards.
The same continuity, but different name.
Yes.
That's right.
So when I have good karma or bad karma, I think about it in terms of this other being we've met in a past life, and then.
Oh, no. Wait a minute. Which being? Who are you talking about?
Is that the wrong word? Felicity. Felicity is kind to me.
Reincarnation. What are you talking about now? Just get clear your thoughts. You're talking about reincarnation, that your consciousness goes to another body.
If Felicity is kind to me, it's because we have met before. I have generated that good karma.
You meet another.
Yes.
Wait a minute,
is that true?
Start again. The whole point. Karma, reincarnation.
Yeah.
Go on.
If Felicity is kindness to me, it's because I have generated the good karma for her to
whatever is in front of you and how it is, whether happy or suffering or good or bad, you created it. Yes.
Great. And
you're the
same thing with the bad.
Huh?
Same thing with the bad.
What?
Same thing. Doesn't matter.
Same thing with the bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of people in the West believe in just pure acceptance of it, not thinking I caused this in the past, but just this is just the way that it is. I don't care about what the
people in the West. What's your question?
How is that view damaging, or is it the view that you just accept this is what it is?
I don't want to know about that. It's a stupid view. It's like saying what I believe in 1 + 1 is 3. You're asking me, what's
wrong.
the damage of that? Well, the damage of it is not true. So shut up.
Okay.
I mean, I'm talking Buddha's view of karma here. You can talk to somebody else's. Anybody can make up their own view about karma.
Yeah.
They can do what they like. I'm discussing Buddha's view here. That's what I'm discussing.
In Buddha's view,
no, listen to me. You're like asking me, what if I believe that 1 + 1 is 3? You're asking me that. What's the danger of that? Well, the obvious answer is evident.
Yeah,
if the truth is that 1 + 1 is 2, then thinking it's 3, you'll be in trouble. So I'm not telling you to believe Buddha yet. I'm just only giving you the Buddhist approach to it. So anybody who's got another view, that's their business. I'm not interested in their view. I didn't want to give it a comment on it. What for? Why bother? So what you're really saying is, how do I get to have more confidence in that it's not so frame the question better.
I'm seeing this as if I don't believe that 1 +. If I
don't want
think
you to believe anything, by the way.
Not believe. That's a terrible word. If I think that 1 + 1 is 3, can I still play the violin?
Obviously not.
Oh.
No, I mean, keep it simple. Would you keep it simple, not too intellectual? What's your question? Just come to the earth. What's your question? What's your question? Shush, you. Stick your nose out of it. Felicity loves to fix everybody. And then thinks she's so kind.
Yes.
Go on. What's your question? And if you can't articulate it, leave it.
Yeah, I'm going to
leave it then. No problem. Yes, Kevin.
Can you just clarify, at the time of death, the consciousness and the subtle body goes into the bardo. Is that correct?
Let's go through the death process, okay? What's your question related to what? What do you mean? If she didn't ask a question yet, I mean, I wasn't happy with the question yet. But if you want to ask another question, why don't you do that?
Another question.
Okay, then I'll answer Kevin's question before we have tea. Go.
So, geez.
Go.
What happens to someone when they just accept what happens to them as though they had no agency?
What you're trying to do is what Felicity's doing to fix Alison. Let her ask her own question.
Yeah, so I'm asking a question now that I would like an answer to.
Okay, what's your sincere question?
So my sincere question is, how do you look at someone who says, I accept everything that happens to me, I have no agency over it, oh, well, I'm going to live my life?
If they're open to a view, you'd have a discussion with them. If they're not, you love them for who they are. I mean, obviously, anybody's like that. You've got nothing special.
Okay.
If they're open to discussion, you have a discussion. If they're not, you love them for who they are. That's it. Two options.
So theoretically, they have some justification for why they think it. If they're open to a discussion, that implies that they have actually thought about why they accept whatever happens to them.
What's the point here?
My point is that I feel like that many people that I have talked to maybe really haven't examined that idea.
I don't care about other people. I'm not interested in these talks.
Sure.
Tell me about you and your mind and your question. That's all I care about.
Okay, then I don't have one.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes, Kevin. Kevin had a question. Who had a question? Who was it? Kevin. That's right. Kevin had a question. Oh, that's right. He wants to do. Oh, that's right. There you go. Okay. So we'll leave it. No, leave it there. Linda, leave it. He doesn't. He's done his question. I forgot. Sit back again. It's all right. So let's go through the death process. Maybe another 15 minutes. We'll get through it quickly before we have tea. Okay. So basically, this is a Vajrayana. Okay. So basically, there we are going through our life, living out all the karmic seeds we planted in past lives, and then on the basis of what we do and say and think now, which triggers other seeds that will ripen in the future or that are activated now. So it's a very highly complex, interdependent scenario. Okay. So going along, and then so if we're becoming conscious, and wanting to take control of our life, we're going to try to practice virtue, live in vows. So we're purifying our mind, we're thinking about impermanence, and we're ready for it. So that's the best way to die, to be ready for it, to know it's going to happen. And you prepare by living a good life. That's the way to prepare for death. You don't wait till your car driving test comes on the day. Oh, I'll be okay on the day. No, you won't. You start now. Then you'll be ready. Same here. So then at the time of death, let's say you're a Buddhist, let's say you got your Buddhist wife or your beloved sister, your friend, she's helping you, holding your hand metaphorically through this process, and you're feeling confident and you have faith in your teacher and you like Buddhist teachings and listen to mantras. You're totally prepared. Your mind's fairly nervous, but you're okay because you have support. And then the death process starts one day, and that's this Vajrayana system. And it starts probably a couple of hours before you stop breathing, typically. So what will happen is there's a series of 8 stages of gradual deconstruction of the various components of a person. So they describe this into about 25 components, but very roughly speaking, the first stage of the 8 stages is when the earth element, the body starts to get heavy. The earth element is ceasing to have its power. And the I consciousness begins to have less power as well. And then, and in certain stages, different parts of the mind, don't go into much detail here, you're gradually beginning to lose the plot psyche. Then the ear consciousness starts to go, and the water element starts to dry up, and various other things mentally. Your mind's getting smaller and smaller. Your senses are getting weaker and weaker. And then your fire element ceases, and the heat begins to leave the body. And the tongue and the which consciousness is it? Eyes, ears, and then nose consciousness. And then you're getting, again, smaller and smaller and narrow, and your mind's getting less and less capable. And then finally, the 4th stage is the air element ceases, the breath stops, your tactile consciousness ceases, your tongue consciousness ceases. As one Lama said, apparently they say the tongue turns blue at the root and gets short. As this Lama said, Geshe Rabten, he said, and that tongue that has spent its life gossiping is now useless. And by this point, the 4 elements have ceased, eye consciousness, all the senses have ceased, and as far as the West is concerned, you're ready for the body bag. The breath has stopped, the heart has stopped, the brain has stopped. Appears to be this way. So, but you're not dead yet. That's just your gross consciousness, the sensory consciousness, and certain levels of your mental consciousness. So now the next stage where is now a subtle consciousness, which is the more subtle levels of your mental consciousness, all the different other states of mind, and then your subtle physical energy. So you've got these 72,000 subtle channels. And coursing through those channels, all these different wind energies, and connected to each of these different states of mind. But you've also got other components of the subtle body. One other component is called the red and the white kundalini. These two subtle drops that come from the mother's egg and the father's sperm. They're the subtle level of the egg and the sperm of the mummy and daddy. So at the time of conception in your past life, or this life, the time of conception in this life, when your consciousness from the previous life joined that subtle red and white drop in the egg and the sperm. And that was the beginning of you in this beginning of Kevin. Kevin started at that point. As soon as your very subtle consciousness came from the bardo, and we're going to go through this next life now, to Kevin's next life. In the beginning of this life, you joined that red and white drops at your mummy's and daddy's egg and sperm. And that was the beginning of Kevin, and he started at his heart chakra, and then gradually the fetus grew. So now the death process is like reversing that process. So that finally the next stage is where the mental consciousness starts, the levels of mental consciousness start to cease. The fifth stage is the white kundalini, which is at the heart, but also predominating throughout the channels, which is the base of the capacity for pleasure and bliss in the body. That is mainly at the crown chakra. That starts to go down the central channel and come to the heart chakra. And in each of these stages, there's a certain vision, they say. When the earth element ceases, going back to the last four, there's like a mirage. When the water element ceases, it's like smoky. When the fire element ceases, it's like kind of sparks. And when the air element ceases, it's like a candle flame kind of going out. And now the fifth vision is like a clear white sky. And other things are happening as well. Other levels of mind are ceasing. And then the sixth stage is the red kundalini, which is coming from the mother, which is at the navel chakra. I forgot the chakras. In this central channel and the thousands of other channels, you've got 5 points, several points where there's a constriction of the various channels. And that's called a chakra or a wheel. And it's not a good thing. It's a hassle having these channels blocking the central channel, because all the airs in the mind have to go into the central channel so it can get more subtle. So the crown chakra, brow chakra, here at the heart, below the navel, and 3 at the secret place, 3 on the penis for the male and internally for the female. So now at the brow chakra, the white kundalini goes down, there's a white vision, 5th stage. 6th stage, red kundalini comes up, which is the basis of the heat in the body. And all this is related to health as well, all these components. The Tibetan medical system comes up to the heart chakra and covers the red and white drop. And so you have a red vision, like a clear red sky in autumn. And then the 7th stage is, and all the subtle states of mind are getting less and less and less. And then finally, all the energies are now coming to the heart chakra. And now they enclose the red and the white, your energies coming in and close the red and white drop at the heart. And now you have what they call a black vision, like darkness. It's like a faint. The yogis are aware of all this. We're not. This happens every time you go to sleep. Exactly the same. So the yogis can use their sleep as a part of their process, And then finally, when that opens, the red and the white drop open, that's the clear light consciousness. That's extremely subtle consciousness, very subtle consciousness, the subtlest level of your consciousness, inextricably linked with the subtlest air energy, inextricably linked. And then you sit there for days, sometimes up to 3 days, an ordinary person, not aware, but they're just there, unconscious. But the yogis can get to that stage with complete clarity, and because that's the most powerful state of their mind, that you have to work for years to get in your meditation, and that's what you can easily get realizations with at the time of death. Some can meditate for days and weeks and months at that stage. The great yogis have spent their lives practicing. And then death is what they've been waiting for. This is the final opportunity to get to the very subtle mind, the clear light mind, and use it. Because it's the most powerful, most capable, most clear, most potent level of consciousness, the clear light consciousness. And it happens every time we die. And they use that to get enlightened. It's the most powerful ones. So then,
The enlightened at the time of death?
Those guys can, those people can, those yogis and yogis can, if they're capable, yeah. And for regular people, if we've lived a good life, Kevin's lived a good life, he's got his friends supporting him in the time of his death, he's ready for death, he's practiced virtue, his mind is ready. When he stops breathing, I miss this part, when he stops breathing, before he stops breathing, about at the second or third stages of this dissolution, that's when another process kicks in, the 12 links. And that's where the 9th link, called grasping, strongly kicks in, intense level of attachment, even if you're virtuous. And that's the trigger for the 2nd link, which is the karmic seed of Kevin's that will determine his next life. So if he's virtuous and dying calmly, that will be a non-killing seed practice in the context of his vows of living in non-killing, and that will be triggered, and his death will be very blissful because he already sees his future, happy future life coming. He'll die a very blissful death. And if it's a negative karmic seed that's triggered because you're freaking out at the time of death, you will even start to see that happen. You'll have the most horrific visions and unbelievable suffering and fear. And you'll go to the lower realms. So that's why we need someone at the time of death to help us go through this process, And then your mind will just sit there for a couple of days if you're a regular person. And when the time is right, that red and white drop will open, your clear light mind will leave, and that second is the end of Kevin. And that's the beginning of the Bardo person. So you go through the 8 stages in reverse, and you wake up in this dream state. Literally, it's a dream state. The dream state is subtle consciousness. Coma is the same as dream. It's subtle consciousness. More powerful because the senses aren't functioning. So it's more receptive, more powerful. That's why the yogis can use their dream mind. So the intermediate state will be very much the quality of the way you died and the karma of the future. So if it's a negative karma, it will be like a horrific nightmare. And it probably won't last long because there's plenty of opportunities for dog births and hell births and spirit births, no waiting around. If it's a human birth, it won't be an unpleasant experience. So basically, past Kevin, not yet named, will be twiddling his thumbs waiting for his new mummy and daddy to have sex, or put you in the petri dish or whatever it is we do these days. And then your mind leaves, already programmed, and you'll go to the new mummy and daddy and off you go. Okay? That's roughly how it works. Now it's time for tea.
Can you include what happens with the imprints at that stage?
They're all just there. And because at the 2nd or 3rd stage of death, the karmic seed that was triggered by the grasping that rises, and it was a virtuous one, a non-killing one, and he's practiced virtue, already it'll be, the imprints are all there. And so the karmic seeds that'll be suitable for the next human will be the ones that'll come to the surface. If he gets a lower realm rebirth, the imprints that are suitable to that rebirth will come to the surface. Because all the 4 sets of karmic seeds are triggered even before he dies. So let's say it's a non-killing karmic seed practice in the context of keeping vows of non-killing in his good practice, and he's had aspirations and wishes to get a good human birth and meet his gurus again and blah, blah, blah. He'll get a really good human birth. He'll have really good tendencies. He'll have really good experiences and have really good environment because he's traded the cause. So go back to a very nice life, come back to a very nice life. He's set it all up. But all the other trillions of karmic seeds that aren't suitable for the next life, they're all there latent, growing and growing, waiting for the conditions for them to ripen. Do you understand?
So the essential point is we set up our next.
Yes, yes. The garden of your future. Who else sows the seeds but you? That's why we're so demented. We really believe that someone else should do it for us. It's quite schizophrenic. We deserve a good life. We deserve a good mother. We deserve God. How dare God don't give me a good life? I mean, it's really quite demented, the view we have, I would say. Compared with Buddhas, you're in charge, babe. It's hard work. Are we communicating?
Yes.
Yeah.
What about the 49 days?
What you mean?
49 days in the bardo.
They talk about how it can be up to about 49 humans length days hanging around in the bardo waiting for a rebirth. It's never longer than 49 days. Okay. Never. It can be like in 1 second. It can be 1 second. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be, it's not mandated.
It's not a question of mandate. You can't mandate botany. It's just the way it is. Depends on the karma of the person, how long it is. If your mother and father hop into bed after 3 hours, you'll go. Do you understand? It's up to when they decide to have sex. So when you're twiddling your thumbs waiting, come on, mum and dad, get going. Because you're programmed because that's already programmed even before Kevin dies. They might even have met each other yet. They don't know what's coming, and they think they created him. What a joke, That's why the Western view, forgive me, I'm so rude about it, is like beyond hilarious. I think that Kevin's mother created him. I mean, is she God or something? It's like an outrageous view. And then because she's not nice, he's happy to blame her, It's quite crazy. Excuse me, I just talk funny. I know that. Yeah. Go, Linda. Talk. What's your question? Got tea time. Got to tea.
I'm always fascinated with this death process. So all the things you said, is it visually accessible to the person?
Only the person who's highly advanced meditator, spend all their life getting single point of concentration, who's in complete control as they go through the process. So if you know that when you go to sleep, you can do this process and you can go through the sleep with complete concentration, then you're capable of dying properly. Otherwise, you just go to bed, you snore, and you wake up.
So here in the Western world, we die and then they prepare the body, right?
What's the question?
Does that have anything to do with the...
Okay. The main thing is you would leave the body alone for at least 3 days. They're in their process. You leave them alone. And if it was your mummy or somebody or Kevin, we'd have prayers done for those 3 days. We would leave them alone. We treat it like a shrine room. We'd have prayers done in the monastery. We'd be there reciting mantras for him. And when we know, and the signs, when we know his mind has left, then we keep doing prayers for him the next few weeks, you know. So that's the main concern. Of course, once the mind has left, then you touch the body. It doesn't matter now. Feed it to the dogs. Who cares? Of course, it's important to do that, but not before the mind has left, and that's up to 3 days. And that's why the whole business of giving organs is quite problematic. You know, I think we've got to have our tea. Do you want to check that it's made, or we assume it will be? Go check, Sheila. Yeah. So, you know, when I edited Lama Zopa's book, there are various chapters, like what to do if your loved one dies at home, what to do if your loved one dies in hospital, what to do if your loved one's giving their organs. And this is a huge one because when you give your organs, they keep you breathing at the time you stop breathing, right? And they say you're dead, but you're not dead. Very simple. From the Buddhist perspective, your mind is still there. Your subtle consciousness is still there. So you can be very vividly aware sometimes. Like people in dreams can be aware of what's going on, right? People on their operating table can be aware of what's going on. That's your subtle consciousness. And that's the same here for a person who's dead. Their subtle consciousness is still there and they can be conscious like in a dream. You understand me? So there's a story. I remember reading a book. I can discuss it maybe later, not sure, no time now. A book I was reading while I was editing this book by an American medical journalist his expertise was death. And it was called The Undead. And it was all the obstacles and problems in the world now and the medical profession in this country that are caused by the one of giving organs. All this business of minds, you know, people coming back to life just before they cut their liver out. Many, many obstacles. It's called The Undead. It's a marvelous fellow. He's very funny. The Undead it's called. And his name is Teresi, Tresi. It's very fascinating. He's a very funny fellow. And he had, for example, so, okay, a person who's been kept alive, dead as far as the West is concerned, still alive, kind of the Buddhist concerned. There's one example of this woman who was giving her organs. And when she was on the operating table to cut out her organs, the Buddhist view is her senses have stopped, no problem, but her mental consciousness is still there at the level of a dream-like. And she mightn't be conscious. I mean, those people who have vivid experiences during their operation, their mind is aware. And I've had that with dreams. You can be aware of the outside world. That's your dream state. That's mental consciousness. Not always. I've had operations and I was not conscious. It was the nicest sleep I've ever had. I wish I could buy it over the counter. You know, those lovely drugs make you go to sleep. Like Michael, but that was like poor Michael Jackson. And also that other bloke who died, you know. The Friends fellow. The Friends.
Oh, yes.
That one. Anyway, this woman, he said this woman, the nurse monitoring the heartbeat of this woman, as soon as they got the circular saw to cut her open, the nurse noticed the heart went from 100 to 200 beats a minute. So what's happening here from the Buddhist perspective is her mind, she's having one of those out-of-body experiences, even though she's technically dead, her senses have ceased, but her mental consciousness is still there, and she's having a vivid experience. She's still alive. She's still who she thinks she is, and she's panicking. What are they doing cutting me open? I'm not dead yet. Now, the danger with that, from the Buddhist perspective, is that can trigger a negative karmic seed and cause her to go to the lower realms because she'd die with panic. So that's the one danger. That's the one danger of cutting out organs, because it can disturb the person's mind and disturb their karma. Yeah.
So what if we... Oh, sorry. So what if, as a Buddhist, you know what's going on and that doesn't shock you? You know what you signed up for. No.
Unless you're highly realized yogi is the right way to put it. Not a regular person. Not possible to be conscious. Not possible. Ego just takes over. If you're a highly realized yogi, then you're in control. Then you know what's going on. When you leave when you want. Are we communicating?
Yes.
A regular person, just because you're a Buddhist, you've got to be high. You can't imagine the level of realizations you've got to have to even go through the death process with control. That's incredibly sophisticated practice. The most advanced yogis. Do you understand?
Understand.
We have one question online, Venerable Robina.
Sweetheart.
Good morning, Venerable. Thank you. I think I heard you say two different things, and I would like clarification. I think you said that the rebirth is at least partly predetermined prior to death. Like it's sort of your parents are chosen, but also that as I have been aware, you can influence the path at the time of death by
What? At the time of death, what?
At the time of death through prayers and mindset, etc. So what is
that should happen well before you start dying. That should be there. A person should be helping you die, doing your prayers, your aspirations. But once the death process starts, you're already on the race. You're already moving, and it starts inevitably. The various senses cease, the parts of your body cease, and about the second stage, once your breathing starts to stop, that's the condition that triggers the time of a strong grasping rising, and that triggers at that point the karmic seed that will program you to go to the next mother and father. So once that's set in, unless something changes, like, let's say it's a virtuous karmic seed and you're prepared to go to that new parents already set up, yes. But as you die, or they take your organs out and you freak out, you can reverse the karma, and before you die, a negative karma can be triggered.
Okay, so it can be influenced at the time. Thank you.
Pardon?
Your rebirth can be influenced by what happens to you at the time of your death.
You mean the time of your death? You mean which moment? What do you mean by time of
Well, your example of the operating room.
Oh, okay. So that's not the time of death yet. The time of death is when this very subtle consciousness leaves the body. That's 3 days after the breath stops. So the karma is triggered already before you stop breathing. And if it's a virtuous karmic seed, that's why you keep quiet and don't upset the person. You keep them calm. You don't cut their organs out. You really are taking, and then when they're ready, they can then leave their mind, and that karma will kick in, and they'll go to their new mummy and daddy. But if something happens and they haven't left their body yet, like they're being freaked out during the organ thing, that could reverse the karma, freak out, and a negative karma can be triggered at that point, and then throws them into the lower realms.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
It can be also a negative karma. So, for example, a friend of mine in Australia, a nun in Queensland, in Cairns, she used to sit with the dying, and there's one guy, she said, he was very peaceful, and suddenly he became like this monstrous demon. He's freaking out, like his eyes turn red, rolling up his head. He's freaking out like he's seeing the worst things in the universe. What's happening is he's starting the death process, and his negative karma has triggered, and he's seeing the hell realms, basically, because as your mind gets more subtle, you literally see what's coming in the future. And he was completely freaking out. She'd never seen anything like it. But then he calmed down, and he died peacefully. And she asked her Lama, and he said, yeah, he had some kind of hell karma ripening, but it shifted, and he got a virtuous karma before he died. So things can change, absolutely, negative or positive. And that's why I love to tell the story of Steve Jobs. Tea's ready. I'll just tell you the Steve Jobs story first. No more questions before we have tea. But I love the Steve Jobs story. I like that. I love that man, okay? And he heard he had cancer, and you could tell from how he spoke that he really was ready for impermanence. I remember one time reading the biography as one of his daughters from a previous marriage. She went to visit him one time, and there's this San Francisco Lama. He's Brazilian. I can't think of his name. He's my friend. But his Lama recognized him as a Rinpoche, and he's healing. He's a healer. He's wonderful. He's a special person. And he was there with Steve. I was very happy about that. Anyway, when he died, the day he died, his sister, they both had been given away at birth, and they met later. And she was a writer, so she spoke at the memorial. And she spoke about how she got there that day. They said, you better come quickly, She got there. He's was skinny, and he's lying on the bed, and his family are there. His 2 daughters, another 2 daughters, and his wife. And she said he was packed, ready to go. I love that. And so this is a story I like. So pretend that Tom is Steve, and I'm the sister watching, and his 2 daughters are facing him, and I can see him looking into the eyes of his daughters. And she said he was full of love for them and begging them to forgive him for leaving them, not like panicking and grasping, And then she said he looked into the distance and went, oh, wow, Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And then died. Well, I can only deduce here that he's already started the death process really quickly. That powerful love and virtue was triggered this virtuous karmic seed, and he's already seeing the Pure Lands or his future birth. So he's completely blissing out. And then he died. That's the way to die, with virtue in your mind. So powerful. That's my deduction based on understanding the Buddha's view. Do you understand? Let's have tea, shall we? I'll come down and have tea as well. I'm sorry we can't give you tea, you people, but we'll have tea on your behalf. We'll see you in, I think we don't need an hour. That's ridiculous. Sheila, we don't need an hour. It's silly. Half an hour's plenty. See you in 30 minutes. Bye, darling. We'll be there. Okay. Let's go for tea. Go on, come on, go. Lead the way. Go.
I'll leave the Zoom open for everyone. If you want to just keep your computers on, or you can leave and come back, your choice. So see you in 30 minutes.
Thank you, Patty.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank
Enjoy
you,
your
Patty.
tea.